Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. Why did I take down the last video, Perna? The last video I posted was about the 4 player arrests that occurred over the weekend. This video is the same thing, but I removed what I had in the episode about the Cody Latimer arrest, and let me explain why. After I uploaded, as is typical these days, new information came out about the Cody Latimer arrest. Adam Schefter tweeted this. At today's hearing, Cody Latimer's attorney, Harvey Steinberg, told the court he was contacted by law enforcement concerning an investigation of a sexual assault of Latimer's 4-year-old son allegedly perpetrated by an individual at the weekend poker game. Schefter followed that up with a quote tweet stating, "The allegations concerning the shooting incident occurred about the same time and location of the alleged sexual assault." Now, I don't think anyone is going to blame Cody Latimer for losing his cool if something like this did indeed happen. It's one of the worst things I can imagine happening. Now, I saw this news a few hours after I uploaded yesterday's video, and it was eating away at me to have my video up. I didn't make any jokes in relation to that specific event because, again, I didn't have that information when I made the video. But I was critical of Latimer's actions and made dumb jokes about other things. And I knew if I had this information prior to that video, I would have approached Latimer's part of the video differently. I'm not a news or media outlet. And all of the other articles up about Cody Latimer can easily be updated, but my video making jokes around crazy circumstances, the crazy circumstances of Dunbar, Baker, Oliver, and Latimer around their arrests, can only have portions edited out through YouTube, but I cannot add to it. I can't give appropriate context, and what I didn't want to do is in a day or two have this story develop and then have my video up and have it appear that I had no sensitivity towards a very delicate and terrible, terrible situation. If I were a news reporter, just commenting on the info I had, it wouldn't be a big deal, but I think I'm funny. I do satire and jokes and say inappropriate shit, and having that mixed as part of Cody's story just left me with that heavy feeling of uneasiness in my stomach. So I unlisted the video last night and decided to address it today and re-upload the video with this addendum and remove anything about the Latimer section that I wasn't comfortable with. And that's it. The rest of this video is yesterday's video, but edited, and I just needed to do that to feel right about having this on the internet. Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. No matter how much I want to finish my NFC North recap or the Nick Wright 3-13 Broncos prediction videos, I can't because NFL players keep getting arrested. Perna. Friday, it was Quinton Dunbar and Deandre Baker. Over the weekend, Ed Oliver and Cody Latimer both arrested. I hate talking about this stuff, but it's very relevant, so my hands are tied. Just like everyone who got arrested. Dunbar and Baker may have some help to clear their charges as witnesses and victims are signing affidavits recanting their stories. Ed Oliver is pretty screwed because there's video of him failing his field sobriety test on top of the fact that he had a beer between his legs when pulled over. And Cody Latimer was arrested on several charges after firing a gun into the air at an apartment complex. I will update you on all of these terrible things and pray this is the last video I have to make about player arrests for, I don't know, at least a week? Just give me a week. Whew, that's good sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for continued NFL updates, no matter how crappy they are. And the Patreon Zoom meeting for all $5 patrons and above will be Thursday, May 21st, this Thursday, 6:30 Mountain Time. There's an announcement on Patreon. All the info you need is there. And I do have big dick Patreon shoutouts for Kim. Yohyun is an absolute goddess, and I am not ashamed to say I'm her loyal peasant. Hashtag Stan Dreamcatcher. Brian Snyder. Max Patterson. Perna's tumescent thunderchode caused a regional eclipse. Purple Ringtail upping to $10. King Boxer Beast 101. Michael DeVault, and Roland Canchola. Thank you guys so much for your donations. Patreon.com/ThatsGoodSports. That's how you support this channel. And again, Thursday, for all $5 patrons, we are hosting a Zoom meeting. A Zoom, where you and I and Will and you and I and Will talk. That's what it is. It was a bad 3-day stretch for NFL player arrests. 4 occurred over the weekend after 2 warrants for Deandre Baker and Quinton Dunbar were issued Thursday night. The Deandre Baker arrest was a shock because he was a first-round draft pick, number 30 overall. Well then, Ed Oliver, the Buffalo Bills' 9th overall draft pick, also from last year's draft, was arrested for driving while intoxicated and unlawfully carrying a weapon in Houston, Texas. Which seems pretty hypocritical for the state of Texas to brag about how gun-friendly they are and then slap a professional athlete with a misdemeanor weapons charge. Had the Bills defeated the Texans in the playoffs, I would understand this arrest a little bit more as a revenge move. Oliver was pulled over on Highway 242 and had an open beer between his legs, and then failed a field sobriety test, all while wearing his Bills team shirt. A good sign you're drunk is when you think your inner thighs are a better placeholder for a beer than a cup holder. The reason Oliver was pulled over, though, was because another driver reported his shitty driving to 911. You have to be driving like a real asshole for another driver in Texas to be so concerned that they called 911. The caller said, "There's a man driving a Ford Super Duty, hauling a dune buggy, and he's swerving all over the place. Based on his terrible decision-making skills, buying a Ford, and not being able to stay in his own lane, I think this could be Bill O'Brien, so please send the highway patrol immediately. Concerned driver." I bet Texans fans wish Bill O'Brien was in jail, but I'd say erratic driving more represents Josh Allen's play in the postseason. Now, I doubt Bills Mafia will hold this against Ed Oliver once his inevitable suspension ends. In fact, being suspended for the first 4 games of this upcoming season is probably a blessing in disguise until the NFL learns to manage COVID ball. My suggestion to NFL players is this: if you are from the state of Texas or Florida, do not return there in the offseason. Do not go to those states for any reason in the offseason. Stay in Buffalo, stay in Seattle, stay in New York, where there's about 1 million ways to get around the city other than drunk driving. It really seems like 95% of the player arrests happen in Texas or Florida. Also, if you don't feel safe hanging out with your friends unless you have a gun, find new fucking friends. Most importantly, don't wear your team shirt when drunk driving. We already know Bills fans can't walk in a straight line. This is just perpetuating a negative stereotype. I know you want to connect with the fan base, Ed, but there are better ways to do it. Now, former Denver Broncos wide receiver and current Washington Redskin Potatoes wideout Cody Latimer was also arrested this weekend for felony assault in the 2nd degree, menacing, and illegal discharge of a firearm and misdemeanor charges of prohibited use of a weapon and reckless endangerment, according to ESPN. Mike Kliss reported this: Cody Latimer got into an argument over a poker game. After the game ended and everyone left, Cody came back with a gun and fired the gun into the air. In addition to that, at some point, Cody punched or hit his friend, which required some medical attention. To summarize, police responded to an incident at Roderick English's apartment. English, who organized a poker game on Cody's request. After an argument occurred, English kicked everyone out of the apartment. Again, Latimer returned 30 minutes later with a gun and said he saved 2 bullets for English and English's girlfriend, and that he was going to kill everyone. English is not the person accused of assaulting Cody's son, so it's a bit unclear as to why Cody returned and then had an altercation with English, and I don't want to speculate at this point. Cody Latimer will return to court on July 24th for his charges, and the investigation about his son remains active. I do have updates on the Dunbar and Baker arrests. Both men willingly turned themselves in over the weekend, but about 5 minutes after I uploaded the first video about their arrest warrants on Friday, news emerged that 5 witnesses signed affidavits stating Dunbar did not partake in the robbery. Pretty significant news I wish I had for the last video, but I didn't. Anyway, Quinton Dunbar's lawyer has presented 5 signed affidavits, 4 from victims and 1 from a witness, recanting their original story about Dunbar's role in the alleged robbery. Now, Deandre Baker's lawyer has said that he too has numerous additional affidavits, but that he's not ready to present them. So, those 2 new developments make this entire situation a giant mess. Either the witnesses and victims all collectively lied to the police about the entire robbery, or Dunbar and Baker's attorneys coerced the witnesses to recant their stories. If all of the victims recant their stories, a judge can wipe this case from the record. If that's true, the witnesses and alleged victims who lied could be in deep shit for perjury. But that's a whole different story, without even provocative imagining that maybe the police coerced the witnesses into false claims. Friday, it seemed pretty certain that a bizarre and crazy robbery had been committed by Baker and Dunbar. Today, I have no clue what happened. Same way I feel after watching a David Lynch film. I guess the whole thing really boils down to, did the police actually find the stolen items, the watches and the cash that the victims alleged were taken by Baker and Dunbar? Did they find those items with Baker and Dunbar? If they did, that could sink them. Now, Dunbar issued an apology via Instagram, and it seemed sincere, and I really hope both players are innocent. While reading Dunbar's apology to the Seattle Seahawks and to the fans of Seattle, I couldn't help but notice his Instagram handle. Chosen one _47. Chosen one _47. Are you saying you're the 47th chosen one? You can't be the chosen one _47 because it immediately discredits your claim. A lot like the witnesses in your robbery debacle. Now, Daniel Wallach, maybe that's how you say his name, revealed something about the new CBA that may come to bite players in the arse. I don't know what really happened with Baker and Dunbar, but even if all charges are dropped, they could still be suspended by the NFL under Article 46 of the CBA to meet the NFL's credible evidence guidelines, to support their favorite suspendable clause, conduct detrimental to the league. The credible evidence standard may become a phrase you hear a little too often. It basically means the NFL does not need proof to suspend a player, just credible evidence they determine supports conduct detrimental to the league. Now, Daniel Wallach warned us about this with his Athletic article back in March. The disturbing part is a player's suspension can be upheld by the NFL even if it's outweighed by other evidence. Do you understand how messed up that is? The NFL has the power to uphold a suspension even if new better evidence emerges that proves innocence or suggests innocence, which means evidence can get a player suspended, but new or better evidence doesn't have to be considered to reverse a suspension. That means no matter what happens from here on out, the NFL can suspend Dunbar, Baker, Latimer, and Ed Oliver no matter how the legal system handles their cases, and no matter what evidence emerges to prove their innocence. Which, let's be honest, for Ed Oliver, will have to be proof of a deep fake video to clear him. But no matter what happens with the other guys, they are probably screwed by the NFL. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Bad Sports News. I'll be back tomorrow with the Nick Wright episode. And then I will finish the NFC North recaps, I swear. I'll get to it.